This episode is sponsored by Old National Bank. Old National is committed to supporting minority-owned small businesses by helping to expand their access to capital through their Empowerment Small Business Loan Program.
Welcome to Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact. Each episode, we will cover legacy, hope, Black joy, funding sources, cultural shifts, equity, and so much more. We will provide inspiration and action while spreading some joy to a thriving community of Black business owners and leading thought leaders. Black Business Matters podcast is produced by the L3 Agency, a culturally sensitive influencer marketing and communications firm in Chicago, where relationships are our currency, passion is our profit maker, and people are our bottom line. I'm Larvetta Lofton, your host and founder of the L3 Agency. I just want to say welcome to another episode of Black Businesses Matter. I have special guests this afternoon, right? Is it morning, afternoon? It's somewhere around. It's morning. It's still morning. I have special guests here with us today, and I'm excited because guess what? Today's episode is our 50th episode. So you guys have been rocking with us for 49 episodes, and today is our 50th episode. So we wanted to do something special. And I have to say that I didn't come up with this idea, okay? I give the shine to the folks who say this. And it's important that we shine out our team. And so Jhana, who is here with us today, she is our associate producer. Y'all, this is our first time. We're kind of fuzzy. I don't know if it's us, but we are trying to do video for you all so that people can see us today because we are fully dressed in our purple today. But I don't know. We are having some trouble. So we're going to keep rolling. We're going to keep rolling and see if it just pops in once they start to talk. But I just want to say to everyone, welcome. I'm excited that this is our 50th episode, that we had a vision and the vision is growing. People are getting wind of it. I recently was speaking at Career Day in Chicago, and the kids were amazing. And I told them about our podcast, and many of them were interested in it. I think when you think about podcasts, the one thing that I say is whether you 5 or you 90, you can log on to a podcast and listen. And that's the beauty of podcasting, is that we can connect at any point, learn something new, connect to someone that we didn't know, and be inspired. And that is what our podcast does. So we are excited to talk to you all today. We're going to talk about cultural shifts. We're going to talk about trends. Are they here to stay? Do we see some things going away? But this is a special episode because I think it's important for you all to see the team that helps me keep this machine going. So I want to take this opportunity to introduce, I'm going to start with Jhana because Jhana has been with me the longest at this point because Mia is not here with us. We were supposed to have our operations manager, but unfortunately her baby's sick, so she's not able to be with us today. But I'm going to start with Jhana, who is amazing. All of my team is amazing, but she is going to introduce herself. And I just want Jhana, for the people, for them to tell you, where did you start? I mean, how did you start with L3? Like, how did it all start?
Yeah, so my name is Jhana, like Larvetta mentioned, and I have been with L3 since 2021, literally the beginning of the year. I started in January of 2021 as a marketing and communications intern, and I was working on a lot of the content that's on social media, and then I started getting into more of our newsletters. And now I've grown beyond that just with being with L3 for so long and seeing a little bit more of the things that we've expanded and putting a touch here and there on a few other things. But yeah, so I've been with L3 as a marketing intern, and now I'm here helping with beyond internships. So I've graduated college, and L3 has been on my career journey with me. So yeah, that's where I am today, and that's where I started.
Yes, Jhana. And as she stated, she started off as an intern. Now she is consulting with us as a contractor and supporting us. So we are excited to have Jhana spark and her keen ability. Like, she has this keen ability to really, I think a lot of things that you see online, she just gets it and she just rolls it right on out. So I'm really grateful to have her on my team. And so Katori, I'm going to introduce you to her because she serves as the associate producer for the podcast. And allow her to introduce herself because she has a unique story too in how she learned about L3.
Yeah, so my name is Katori, like Larvetta mentioned, and I really started back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It was right after my first year of college, and I came on as her intern. And I worked with her throughout the summer of 2018, and it was a really amazing experience. I really love working with Larvetta. I learned so much during that internship. And around 2022, before I graduated, I reached out to Larvetta to interview her because I wanted to include her and at the end of my college career, because she was a part of my development, a part of my learning. And after that, she invited me onto her team as her assistant account executive. And as I learned and grew in that role, she began to bring me onto the Black Business Matter podcast also. And that's when I became that associate producer. So I'm responsible for a multitude of things. I help on the marketing side for L3, creating and crafting those assets that you see on social media, along with being in charge of outreach for the Black Business Matter podcast, ensuring quality for the Black Business Matter podcast, and things of that nature. So it was really a long journey, and I'm glad that I ended up here.
And I am glad that you are here as well. So they both have unique stories, and I'm grateful for both of them. They certainly, I think they spend a tremendous amount of time making sure that our brand is represented online. And when they both started, they both got style guides. And I'll say that they both make sure that our look and feel is represented online, because that's who we are as a marketing firm. So I want to talk a little bit about working for a woman-led agency. I would love to get you all's feedback on that. Perhaps was that a desire? Or did you, or was it a desire? Or maybe there were things where you were like, I don't know if I want to work for a woman. That's okay too. Like, what's your thoughts knowing that this was a woman-led agency?
I think that created a sense of comfort, knowing that I was working for a woman-led agency. It helped me be more relaxed and more able to be a leader creatively, because I understood that you understand where I'm coming from. You understand the type of things that I would need to build me up as a woman in the professional world. So those were my thoughts.
So it was positive for you coming into a woman-led. Okay,
Definitely.
Good. That's good. What about you, Jhana?
Yeah, I definitely would say I align more with wanting to join a company that's operated by a woman and a team that is also filled with women. I know it was like one of the things I spoke about in my interview when I was interviewing for my intern position. I was like, yeah, and I love the fact that this company is women owned, and it stands true to this day. It's something that I value just in the way that we approach things. It's different than a company that isn't facilitated by women. I think that we just have a different perception to bring to the table, and that's always beautiful when working for a marketing firm and just a company that's always trying to be innovative and provide solutions.
That's good. Because, the reason why I say that is, and thankfully, I don't know with your generation if you all heard this, but I know with my generation, it was like, girl, you want to work with all those women? They going to get catty. It's going to be drama. It's going to be this. Did you guys ever hear that?
No, not at all, actually. A lot of like when growing up, we wanted to be in those women led spaces. I come from a family that's led by amazing women, so I never heard that rhetoric. The women were leaders in my life all throughout, so it was never that type of negative self talk. Even my father says that he instills that in me that women are leaders, women should be in charge. I often heard that rather than the drama and women talk too much. I hear more often that men are gossips and things of that nature.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. I love this perspective because in our generation, we heard that. What about you, Jhana?
Definitely. I think relating with Tori, like I come from a family of women, a lineage of women. My mom is a single mother, so never would hear things that would put down other women or view them as not comparable or better than men. So I definitely didn't have a perspective that would make me have a negative outlook on a women led company.
Yeah. And I think, let me say this, I appreciate you all sharing that because, you know, in my generation, that's what I experienced. And I remember people telling me, girl, you don't want to go work with a bunch of women. And so I made sure that would not be the experience that my team would have to undergo. And it sounds we did all right over here on that side. So I want to talk a little bit about both of you all are helping to launch Black Businesses Matter and are very much involved. I do want to ask for you, Katori, because what has been the biggest challenge on the podcast? Because you are very closely connected to it. So, what has been your challenge with the podcast?
I think that somewhat outreach has, since that's my main responsibility, that's what I mainly struggle with. Not only just reaching out to people, but making sure that they respond because we're a communication agency, but everybody isn't the best at communicating back with me. I find that it's just hard to like the people that you really want and dealing with that disappointment when people don't respond and trying to take yourself out of it. So I think it's more so not even just the outreach, but the emotional aspects that come from that sort of rejection that you feel when they don't respond because when you believe in something, it's like, I know this podcast is amazing. It would be an amazing experience for you to be a part of, but you're just not communicating with me. So I kind of feel that. I guess that would be my main.
Yeah. And I think that's good. That's really good. And I think it's a challenge because I think that's the difference that I think people don't realize is that whatever level you come at a career, when the other person on the other end that you reach out to doesn't reach out to you, I think it bothers all of us. I don't think there's anyone that's like, yeah, I'm cool with that. I think that is what we have to learn is, and you know, I say this, it's okay to kindly stalk. Like you can kindly stalk people, kindly, like DM them, text them, email them, call them. You know, it's kind like, hey, how's it going? Just checking in on you. And so people ultimately appreciate that, but it's a kind stalk. It's not like knocking at the door, collections agency stuff, stalk. So I definitely think for that. And so for you, Jhana, what has been one of your challenges here? I know you don't necessarily work on this, but you definitely give input and creative direction on it. So what has been your challenge?
Like you said, I kind of am not as integral in the outreach portion like Tori, but I guess making sure that I'm understanding her position because she is in that space. So making sure that grace is extended with certain things like, okay, we had plans to have this person be a guest for this episode. And then just making sure that I'm aligned with the fact that there's a process in making sure that we secure that guest. So kind of really just putting myself in you all's shoes is what's been not much of a challenge, but I would say that's something that I have to be mindful of.
I love that you said grace because we all have to give each other grace. I think that's the unique part of, I think, working with women is that even our operations manager, she was supposed to be here, but her child is sick. And so giving her grace to be okay with tending to her child right now. So I think that's also important and being understanding. So I want to talk about culture. We see it, we share it online, we have discussions around it. And as culture shifts, even I was watching something, and I can say this is that I'm seeing more and more women as main characters of shows, right? I'm seeing more of that. It's no longer like starring this and then it has a woman or a Black woman leading, but I'm really seeing that more and more Black women are leading efforts. So I just want to talk about culture and how you all see it today and how I think how brands should pay attention to the shifts in culture.
I can start just because I'm just such a huge consumer of all of the social media channels. So I see it, it's in my face all the time. But I think that wellness and like caring for yourself is becoming a huge focus right now. I don't know, like as I'm scrolling on Instagram, there's about 50 different ads for 50 different companies for different healthcare programs, whether it be like yoga, app that you can download to start a workout journey, just several different avenues for wellness. I'm seeing ads for getting supplements and vitamins catered directly to you for your needs. So I think that is a huge that's becoming a focus right now. And I think that companies could really, as they are, capitalize on this right now, just because I think people are understanding that right now we're in a season of winter and summer is on the horizon. So I think everyone's being very tactical with marketing right now so that people can present their best selves in the season that's yet to come. So definitely I would say wellness and fitness and just looking your best and feeling your best is a huge shift that I've seen.
That's good. I do think, and Jhana, it's interesting because I do think that the culture, even mental wellness too, right? It's like this idea that we can have this space to say, today I'm not mentally well. I got a headache, right? When you really are mentally not well. And I find that is, and I think for within our culture, I feel like it's more accepting to be okay with not being well from that standpoint. I think that brands have an opportunity, even, and I say this, even if you are an IT company, I think you can still have wellness as part of your core and practice that as part of our culture. Because I will say this, and I'm going to get to you, Katori, was that I grew up where grind, 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 work, work, work. You got to grind. If you ain't grinding, you ain't winning. That's how I grew up. And so wellness was not at the forefront. But what I will tell you was fitness was, but it was from a vanity standpoint. It wasn't necessarily to be well from the inside out. And so, you young, you like, oh, okay, yep, I'm good. I'm going to just go to this gym. And, so I think that is serving us. And I think in our culture, it's now becoming something that you can say. And I feel like people say this now. And it's crazy to me, like, oh, Thursday is my therapist day. And I'm like, oh, okay. They're open with it. But I didn't see that just kind of growing up. And I think brands have the ability to be able to give people that mental space. So I'm glad that you brought that up because I do think that there is something there. What about you, Katori?
I think similar to Jhana, like a lot of those cultural shifts and focusing on wellness kind of creates that sense of normalcy when you're talking about bettering yourself rather than, like you said, when it was focused on that more so vanity, it became unhealthy. And as we shift and as we sort of kind of they are radically like more so going into it, like you have to make sure you're mentally well. You have to make sure you're taking care of your body. You have to do these things. And as they're pushing it, it's becoming something that people can weed out that information that kind of fits them best and structure their lives around it better. And as companies take a look at that and try to shift, not their curriculum, I guess they would call it, shift their culture to connect to meet their employees and making sure they're mentally well. It creates an environment that can ultimately be more efficient, be more long lasting because they're caring for their employees and not making them work 40 to 80 hour days and 40 to 80 hour weeks and things of that nature and working them to the bone just for their output rather than focusing on the quality of their work.
That's good. And I will say that, guys, I feel like I was bullied a lot in that space. I think the word is bully. I don't know that I knew that then, but it was more like because I was young and I didn't have children, I wasn't married. I felt like they were like, oh, you can work 80 hours. There's no need. It was hard because I believe that, to me, was the one thing that I could have done differently for me. And so what I had to learn is that I can do it different as the leader of my company, that I didn't have to have that level of regret, but I can create that space in an agency that says, we do, yes, we work hard. Yes, we do. And we perform at our highest, but we are not going to give up our soul to be at the beck and call of our clients, right? Because we need to rest. And I read a book during COVID, I think that helped, called Dream Big. And I remember the reason why I read it, when you read it, you're like, oh, it's dream big. Like it's about grinding. And quite frankly, God, was less about grinding. It was taking those times, those moments, be with your family, travel, dream, because what ends up happening, it helps you in business. That idea of just keep going was just not sustainable. So I'm certain about that piece. So I like to see wellness continue to grow in companies. Even if you're not a wellness company, I think we can continue to see that be a cultural shift. Anything else, any other shifts that you guys think have shifted, I think post pandemic? Anything else?
I think not even just post pandemic, but like with the rise of social media and things of that nature, I think a lot of the trends are so fast paced and everything is moving and shifting so quickly, especially in like fashion and beauty and things of that nature. One of the main shifts that is somewhat more affected by COVID simply because it was that time of heightened activism. Everybody was all of a sudden paying attention. So shifts in the beauty industry, specifically with like making wider ranges for shades, holding these companies more accountable and things of that nature. And now all of a sudden, little Black girls, people that look like us, have all of these options and can make themselves look like the supermodels they see and things like that. I think that one is the one of the more beneficial things that came out of it too.
Yeah, I agree, Katori. I think I'm so happy that we have options, right? We just have options in that space. I just hope more and more other areas allow for that level of growth as a service-based business. Can we have those same options there? I want to talk about the hybrid model, right? Working from home. That's a whole thing with post-COVID. Like, so full disclosure, I've been working from home for a long time. So there was nothing new for me. And I've always worked from home, and then I've also had an office. So I've always used the office as my place for the clients, for my team, et cetera, et cetera. And so everyone moved into this space that was home. And this hybrid model, kind of work from home and go into the office. Do you all find that that's the most effective way versus being on one vertical, going into the office every day, or working from home all day? Do you think this whole kind of having this mixed model approach is effective, especially for your generation? I'd love to hear your thoughts about that as a trend shift in all of, I think, in corporate America, and certainly in our space of, of small businesses.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that because I too am a part of the hybrid model and working from home and also being in office. So I think having that mix is helpful because I think it's a direct correlation between your work life balance and just your willingness and enjoyment of the work that you're doing. I think having that choice helps contribute to your mental health overall because unless you're a person that is 100% thriving in office every single day, kudos to you. That's not me. I love having the option of, okay, today I'll go in office because I want to be facing other people. I want to collaborate with others face to face. Or I kind of want to be home today because I think I'll get my work done a little bit quicker if I'm just doing things independently. So I think having that choice has been helpful. And I think that's why things and companies have decided to keep that model post COVID because we're coming out of COVID and still hybrid models are a thing. They haven't gone anywhere. So I think because we haven't even seen or some companies may have, but I think the numbers are showing that there hasn't been that much of a negative turnaround in having a hybrid model of working from home and also working in office. So I think it's a positive thing, and I think it's here to stay. I don't think it's just trendy right now.
You think it's here to stay? Okay, what about you, Katori?
I definitely think that the hybrid model is something that's very beneficial for definitely for like people that Jhana mentioned who have the option. When they have that option, they can take that like that grace that they need for when you go in the office and you have to deal with people. That can be more daunting than your work, and then all of a sudden you can't work because you're distracted by the people around you. So I definitely feel like being at home creates an environment. You can create an environment where you are more productive, especially sometimes people will work harder because they're at home because they feel like they have something to prove. And then eliminating that time where all of a sudden your 8-hour day feels like 9 to 10, because when you include travel and things of that nature, now it's just waits like you're working longer than you really have to when working from home. You can have that hard start and that hard stop where you can just work throughout your day and then it's just done. But I also feel like sometimes when you do work from home, you don't know when to separate the two, and all of like you still feel that same stress that you would feel at work at home. So I think having both can help your brain recalculate and understand where those boundaries are. So yeah.
I think that, so do you all think, is that a perk if you had a company that was like, we have a hybrid model and they were like, you all see those as perks? Yes. Yeah. They're saying yes, guys, just so you all know for the audio. And I was on a webinar and they talked about, this was a while ago, that, as small companies, your perk is that. And that's one of the things that we instituted. Like, you don't have to be in it. And we wanted to use that as like work from anywhere. So if you're on vacation, you can work from anywhere, because I don't necessarily believe that. Here's what I believe. I believe that coming into the office is great. And you all mentioned that for collaboration, for connection, for your team. Absolutely. You don't have to do that every day, but you certainly, I think it's very effective. And I think it also builds your self-confidence to put on clothes, right? To put on clothes and see people. I think it also helps with that. And then when you're home, and for us women, we have those not so good days every month. So we have the ability to say, I don't want to see anybody right now. And nobody really understands that sometimes. So I find that, I think, namely for women, I'm not going to say for men, but because those are moments that we can't run from, the idea that we don't feel our best, we feel bloated, our face is fat, we've got breakouts, like all of that is real. Okay. Just for everybody to know, that's real for women. And so we should have that, option. And I think in my generation, we didn't feel like we could call and say, today I started my cycle and I don't want to come in. Like, you couldn't say that. And I think that's a space that we're doing. The other thing that I find, and I've shared this with you guys too, is that social media has shifted in the way that we first saw them. So for example, I loved Instagram for the pictures. Like, I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, I could see all this great photography. I remember following this guy who was like an excellent, like he would do nature. Like that's not even in my feed anymore. And it's quite upsetting to me. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. And then I started to fall for TikTok. I loved TikTok during COVID. TikTok was my jam. I wanted to do all the dances. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. And then like Facebook started to like die. It's dying for me now. But I was just telling a group that at the end of the day, guys, all of them are vying for our attention. So when you're on one, they're finding a way to get you over here and say, hey, come play with us. So it's like when someone says, and we don't realize this, when someone says, hey, DM me, or, for that, DM me on Instagram, we're really giving love to Instagram. That's what we're doing because we're keeping ourselves connected. So I think the trend in a lot of ways is now the mobile, the text messaging. I see that as a trend because I can look at my phone and I could be text messaging more than my social media, because now people have access to you and they can just text you. For some people that are in your that are in your address book, because I can merge a lot of my contacts from there for some of them. And I see that as a difference. And then everything is video, like everything's video. So then it's, I just miss which is why I still love Pinterest. I still love Pinterest because I just want to see photos. So what are your guys' thoughts around the social media platforms and how they've shifted for you all? Obviously, you both been in college recently and saw that, and now in the workforce. What do you see different now?
Like you said, Facebook definitely, I really stopped using it right before I entered college. So I was done with that by then. And I kind of more so focused on Instagram and doing things of that nature. But recently, Instagram has even just become a place that's been filled with ads. I haven't really even been seeing all of my followers. I haven't seen anybody. I've just been seeing ads, this, shop here, look there. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. But definitely TikTok is one of my main usage. If I look at my usage right now, I probably got 8 hours for the week already. And it's just something that, one, because it's that endless black hole of videos and being able to see into these people's lives or the creativity. People are so creative. I never would have known. And the connections you make, the people in the comments, stuff like that. It feels like they tend to call it like an inside joke. It's just something that you can all feel so connected in, something that we all know and something that we all get. So I think that TikTok is one of the better things that came out of it, even though all social media creates a sort of toxic environment. But that definitely, but
that's good, Katori, all toxic. That's good. That's good.
It's just, it brings out with the communities created, you don't know what type of communities you're creating, honestly. And then you mentioned Pinterest. I love Pinterest. Pinterest is the best. It definitely gives you that sort of comfort. It's individual in that sense because it's curated to you like the other social medias claim to be, but then they throw ads in your face. Yeah. Pinterest definitely is good for the creative people, the inspiration, that sort of thing. And even throughout the years, it hasn't really even changed much. It's just something that feels like a constant, something that you can always use, even if you don't use it every day.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Katori, around Pinterest. It's just constant. It definitely is constant. And I could just, right before I go to bed, if I can't get to sleep, I just go to Pinterest and it's like muse for me. What about you, Jhana?
So I'm going to speak to one of my favorite topics, not because it's a positive thing. It's actually kind of negative, but studies have shown that we're actually in something that they're calling a social recession, meaning that human interaction, at least face to face, is dying down. And naturally, that's a product of COVID and us realizing, hey, we can still communicate with another. We just don't have to link up to do it. So definitely that's a trend right now. And still being studied on if it's here to stay or not. But I know, personally, I'm trying to actively fight against it single-handedly by trying to get out more and see my friends more, because I'm like, this can't be me. And they have done little subcategories of that. So does that look like friendships, relationships, romantically, relationships with your family members? And it's like all of them are being affected. So I'm like, let me actively fight against that. So to speak to what you guys were saying, social media and just having our devices has definitely been the one thing keeping us connected. That whether it be being on Pinterest, whether it be being on Instagram, I think that kind of has played into us being just so reliant on our different platforms to keep us connected rather than having human interaction. So hopefully that is a trend that doesn't stay, but it's also been positive because we could also just be not communicating with each other at all. So
that's true. I love that you said it's a social recession, because I do believe that someone who's an extrovert, when I am out with people, I feel filled up. I'm like, oh, I'm full. And I think it is necessary for the law of attraction. And I think that is something that we have to be. And I think because social and all those social media are vying for our attention, I think we have to be intentional with getting out, because they really want us to stay on our devices. that and not being connected and be able to talk to one another and have a conversation and learn about what your favorite color is and things like that. And so I think we have, because it's so amazing to me, because I have people that I call, they're like, you can text me, you don't have to call me. And I don't know about you all, and I like texting too, but I don't want to text a full conversation. Yes, no, I'll pick up the shoes. You know what I mean? I'll meet you at that time. But I'm not good at, I'm actually horrible with sending it, which is why we're going to talk about podcast, which is why I think voice notes are better. And those things are better because you can feel the energy in a voice. You can't feel the energy of a voice in a text. So that's why, yes, no, maybe, or can you meet me by 12? Like I like that for it. But I do find that texting is for someone who loves to talk and communicate, it's taken away the form of talking sometimes. And I'm guilty of it too. So I'm not saying that I don't do it. I'm guilty of it too. But it's just getting right. You got email, we got GChat, we got all these ways. And sometimes we don't understand that just picking up the phone eliminates a lot of that. So I think that's it. So as we move into this, do you think that podcast, even though we know that radio broadcasting is nothing new, and podcasting is just an evolution of being able to talk on a line versus broadcast was based on a station. And so now we get to talk on the internet and connect. Do you all think podcast is here to stay?
I definitely do, only because people love having a platform. People love feeling like they have the ability to influence. So that just gives them that power. Maybe they felt powerless, or they really just needed something, some sort of outlet, and try to, again, build that sort of community without having to interact with them individually. So I definitely think that it'll be here to stay. I think so.
I think so too. Well, we certainly are planning to be here for a minute, guys. We're planning to be here for a minute. So we want you guys to keep rocking with us. Jhana, what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think, like Tori said, people like feeling like they have influence, and influencers are on the rise as well. And I'm sure we can see it on our Instagrams, our TikToks. Everyone is trying to be an influencer, probably because they've seen how reliable it can be when it comes to linking it to another goal of yours. Like, people are becoming influencers so they can blow up with their music. People are trying to grow their business and becoming an influencer. So just there's many positives that come with having that influence. And I think also people really think they have something to say lately, because we see it takes nothing to get some podcasting equipment from Amazon and just start chatting. So I think because everything is so attainable and people are seeing others do it, they're like, I can do that too. And they get their platform, as they should. So
I totally agree, Jhana, because I remember I had a radio show and it was called Let's Get Down to Business. And when I had it, it was on internet radio, guys. It was called internet radio. And so many people logged on. I was amazed because I thought, like, people ain't gonna log on to this internet radio. And it grew. And first of all, I felt like I had something to say. And the guests that I would bring on had a lot to say. So I was like, okay. And then we stopped doing it. But this is the evolution. And full disclosure, I worked at a radio station when I was in college. So I really liked radio. I liked talking. I was like, this is my jam. So just to get it back, I'm just going to give you all some facts because I think it's important. But according to the US podcasting industry, podcasting is an increasingly popular pastime in the US. And there was an estimated 120 million podcast listeners in the country in 2021. Here's what they're forecasting for 2023, that the number of podcast listeners will surpass 160 million in 2023 after increases of around 20 million each year. So that tells you that, and I got this a while ago, that tells you that it's increasingly popular. It's becoming increasingly popular because here's the thing. This is my trend. This is the trend. I think the idea of people just sitting is no longer that. People are moving and they're still moving. So podcasting gives you an opportunity to put your headphones on, even in the house, even in your home, to be able to listen to episode. Whereas video, even though I think video is this, you have to be intentional. You have to sit down. You can play it in the background, but you've got to sit down. So the idea that I can drive to the grocery store and listen to my podcast, I can pick up my kids and listen to a podcast, I can take a road trip and listen to my favorite podcast. So I think that's it. Not to say that we can't, because podcasting allows us to be able to be connected. I think podcasting to me is allowing for us to build that social connection. I do, because hearing people talk and be able to do that is helpful. So much so, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts around Clubhouse. Because, that was a thing. I know it's still a thing, but I want to know that any of you guys try out Clubhouse. What were your thoughts? Do you think it's here to stay? I love to hear you all on that one.
I never tried Clubhouse, I think because I just never really gravitated towards it. But if I have a good grasp on the Clubhouse platform, I think some of those capabilities are now in TikTok. So TikTok is they've even started 10-minute videos now. So we're not going to need YouTube soon. So I think because you can go live with multiple people, I think that's like how Clubhouse was set up. You can do that on TikTok now. So I don't know if they're here to stay just because TikTok is becoming an all-in-one app. They're taking over.
Yeah, they are taking over. But Jhana, I thought that Clubhouse, and y'all correct me, I thought it was straight audio. It was straight audio. It was the idea that you can get on, have your own room and just talk in it. I don't remember if it was video. It may be evolving into that. Katori, what about you? Are you familiar with Clubhouse?
I am not the most familiar. I heard about it, but I didn't join it when it came out. And I just looked it up. It was like an audio, it was like a mixture, like audio call-in, radio type situation.
Yeah.
So no, that's not really something that really interests me because I'm not the most talkative, so I wouldn't want to use that type of platform. But connecting with people, we had things like TikTok, we had things like Instagram and YouTube. I still use YouTube so much, so I already had that type of connection, but it wouldn't be that direct interaction, which I didn't really want.
Got it. So based on what you know about Clubhouse, what makes podcasting probably better for you? I'm just curious.
I'm thinking similarly, it eliminates that almost direct conversation that you might have. While we can have it, it's like, trying to say it, like we don't really need to have that direct conversation, I guess, if that made sense. But other than that, I think like podcasting allows for you to do it on your own time rather than it being right there, right now.
Ah, got it. That makes sense. Oh, yes, that makes sense. Okay. Because I didn't get into it either merely because I don't know. I just didn't really get it. I was like, I don't know about this. And so I do think it's been around, but I feel like because both of you all are Apple users. So just for the closer, I'm the one in here that's an Android. I thought it was going to blow up because it was an Apple product. I really thought it was going to blow up. But I think their Apple podcast is what's blown up. I don't think it's the Clubhouse, but I think that they wanted to get in the social game. And that was their way of getting in the social game. I love Apple because I'm on Apple computers, MacBooks. I believe in iMac, all that. I just don't have an Apple phone. But I think that to me, that's the thing that Apple needs to stop. They are like innovators. Stop trying to imitate. Stop. Like people are imitating them. And that's where I feel like Apple needs to stop. Steve Jobs created something that nobody else. And so I feel like they're imitating instead of just continuing to be innovators. That's just my piece on that. So I don't know if Clubhouse will make it. Who knows? Because what's the iPad? Oh gosh, not the iPad. It was the little bitty, the mini. Y'all remember the mini? Y'all may not remember, but it was like the mini iPod. Yeah. And it was the minis where you could just listen to music.
Oh,
like
the shuffle. Yeah.
I have
yeah. I did too. And so Like they constantly make stuff and they just go away. That's the thing that I love with, they'll just make something. Okay, that doesn't exist anymore. And I think that's, so as we close, I think that as a company, we have to be okay with pivoting, right? We have to be okay, like, this doesn't work for us anymore. Okay, throw that out. Let's start this. I think sometimes as business, we just keep doing the same stuff over and over again, that it's okay that this is no longer relevant. Don't you all find that it's okay to say, yeah, we don't do that anymore? How do you guys feel about that? Like for companies to be okay with that?
I think it's definitely okay with that because, I think it's definitely okay because it shows that you're able to grow and you're able to change and you're not just so like stuck in your ways, especially in times where everything is changing so quickly. You need to be able to keep up with the times. You need to also be able to make sure your company is the best at what it's doing. So they can't just do everything because then you don't want that bottom line to be that, oh, we lost so much over here because we're still doing that when that's not anything that our target audience is craving.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, Jhana? Do you feel like we should be okay with like letting our businesses pivot and not just run it down, like run it down the drain till it just doesn't work anymore?
Yeah, I think that pivoting is necessary. It's relative to growth. Like companies, for example, this has been the topic of discussion, but TikTok, it was once not TikTok. It had to pivot to become TikTok. I think, what was it, Musically, and those crazy videos would get recorded. Yeah, and that was something that was dying down. But I think TikTok was a great pivot for them and it turned their business around. It's a similar concept to what they had, but with some slight tweaks, and that's working for them.
Yeah, I agree. Even so much like Twitch. Are you guys familiar with Twitch? Like Twitch during COVID, Instagram doesn't do the whole music live anymore. They stopped, but Twitch kind of took over in that space. And you can go on and listen to music and not have to go into a party. You can create your own party. And I think they also pivot because they were really doing gamers. That's what I found. They were just doing gamers and they kind of pivot into the music business. So as I share with everyone, be okay with pivoting. That word came up during COVID. I was like, I'm tired of that word, let it die. But I think we shouldn't let it die because we should be constantly learning how to pivot and be okay with it and say, yep, we were once that and now we're not. And it's okay. I just want to say, guys, thank you all for being here. But as we close, because you all know we close with 2 questions before we close it, an episode. And so we definitely want to get from the team and asking them, because I don't even know that I've ever asked them this question, but I do want to ask you all, why do Black businesses matter?
So I've been able to witness a whole bunch of people answer this question and they've always given great answers. So Black businesses matter mostly because they provide that sense of representation. They provide that sense of, I can do anything. And a lot of times Black people have the most creative businesses, most creative business model, and meet a need that we need met that is often ignored in mainstream media. So I think that's one of the main reasons that Black businesses matter.
That's good. You know, I always love that question when I ask. When people ask me, I get like, oh my gosh, so many people have so many, to your point, they say so many amazing things. What about you, Jhana?
Black businesses matter for so many different reasons. I think that our voices and our perspective are so important to commerce and just the economy overall. Without Black businesses, I don't think there would be any businesses. I think we've always been innovators and service providers and inventors. So I think just historically it's within us and we are essentially just the foundation.
That's good, Jhana. Okay, so ladies, what brings you joy?
For the most part, I think that spending time with my family brings me some of the most joy. It's such a sense of comfort that I get from them. And also just dance, anything creative, anything arts. I really love creating new things and being a part of something new.
That's good. That's good. Jhana?
So many things. I think I'm in a year of figuring out what brings me joy too, because I once upon a time didn't know. And now I'm like independently thriving and just learning so much. I'm in just such a transformational period of my life, but I think I've been able to pinpoint what brings me joy. And I would say, honestly, I'm like a person of habit and routine. So defining routines for myself is so good for me. That's how I am able to maintain the things I have going on. Like, for example, now I wake up at like 5 a.m. and I go to the gym and I'm in bed by 8 p.m. and the lights off. I try my hardest too. So just really doing things that are going to better me. That's what brings me joy. And I find that within the routines I set for myself. And really just the close ones in my life bring me joy as well, whether that be family or friends or whoever.
I love that you both, one knowing what joy is and one discovering what joy is, because when I created this show, it came about because we haven't been given permission to share our joy. And so it was important on this podcast to talk about business and joy at the same time, that we didn't have to split that. As we close, I just want to say what brings me joy is the fact that I get to work with some dope women in my organization and watch them grow and flourish and build on something. And I will tell you, and allowing them to lead, because I think in companies, because we are tied to titles, and I'm not a title person, leadership is all about serving. And so it's about serving each other. And that does bring me joy when we get to serve our clients, we get to serve our communities, we get to serve each other and come together. So just doing this episode is bringing me joy, because that means that we got to 50. Like, that's a joyous moment. So I just want everyone who's listening into, if you can, toast with us, toast to 50 with us as we continue to share positive stories of connections, positive stories for more collaboration, and build on this equity. While all three of us all are at different levels in our lives, we can still come together and create magic. And I think that's what equity has to show up. We don't have to show up saying, well, you started over here, so you can't be great. You started here, you can't be great. We all can have different starts and still be amazing and powerful and impactful. And every person on my team is impactful. And I'm grateful for that, and letting them have a voice in this organization, in our company. While we're small, as a small agency, we are big in impact. And so we want to continue to do that as a women-led agency. This is Women's History Month. We are celebrating the women that we get to serve, the women that we get to talk about, the women that work for me. All of that means the world to me. And I say this, when we win, we all win. And so we want whoever's listening, if you got a goal, you're trying to reach something, you want to accomplish something, we are with you, sister. We are toasting with you. We are cheering for you, because that's who we stand for. And we will continue to stand for as long as I am here. And when it continues to be on, I hope that will continue to be my legacy. The good thing about podcasting is that it stays on forever. So you hear it from me. So when I'm long gone, we get to be able to use this as archives. So I want to thank you guys for listening in. We were trying to do this as a video. So as I was sitting here, I was like, okay, we didn't do this. But if you're listening to this episode, I want you all to see them, because they are powerful. So we're going to do this again. We're just going to find a different platform to do it on, so that we can make sure and ensure that you can see us, because my team clearly likes TikTok. So maybe we're going to do a TikTok and talk to you all a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. So I just want to say thank you guys for rocking with us. And thank you for another episode of Black Businesses Matter. Please follow us. Please subscribe. Please connect with us and just keep rocking with us, and just send us a message and say happy 50th episode. Thank you guys for listening. See you next week.
This episode is sponsored by Old National Bank. Old National is committed to supporting minority-owned small businesses by helping to expand their access to capital through their Empowerment Small Business Loan Program.
Thank you for joining us this week on Black Businesses Matter podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen so you will never miss a show. You can also follow us on social media at the L3 Agency and at Larvetta Speaks. If you love the show, leave a rating so that we can continue to bring you impactful episodes. You can also take the pledge and order our merch at our website at thetl3agency.com. THEL3agency.com. Thanks for listening and see you next week.